Hey, thanks for stopping by Mystic Messages. If you're new here, welcome. If you're returning, welcome back. I hope everyone's doing great today. Uh, Before we begin, I want to let everyone know these messages are timeless and will be received in divine timing for those who need to hear them. And as always, if they don't apply, let them fly. You're always welcome to come back for the next one. But that being said, let's begin with today's message from Source. And the message is your diet is lowering your vibration. Okay? Now, what does that mean? Apparently, whoever's receiving this message is not keeping up on their diet. Okay. I'm getting a high consumption of fast foods, processed foods, prepackaged foods, frozen foods. All these things were intentionally created by the Matrix to keep the populace unaware, to stifle your mind, to stifle your energy, to mess with your pineal gland, so that way you're not able to see things clearly. Okay. You ever wonder why they make the organic food? And I do say organic in quotes because nothing is organic unless you grow it yourself. It's just another ploy to get people to spend more money, unfortunately. But anyway, those foods at these higher prices are basically only affordable to a small percentage of the population. That's the very rich. Okay. Now they want you to eat the garbage food. Okay. Like all these fast food joints that are selling two for $1, whatever the prices are. I don't know. I don't frequent these places at all. I don't support them because a lot of them support this current political administration. Uh, that being said, there are some of you out there who need to mind your diet. This is why you are being affected. This is why your vibration is low. This is what's causing you depression. So what Source is asking you to do is be mindful of what you're eating, even though the more organic foods might be more expensive. There are ways around it. Like for instance, cooking your own dinner. I grew up in an Italian house. My family came from across the water. We were immigrants, and we didn't believe in canned foods, frozen foods. That wasn't allowed. Everything that was prepared in the house was fresh and homemade. Everybody in my family grew their own garden. That's how we knew things were organic. We ate those vegetables. We canned those tomatoes and vegetables for the winter time. There was never a canned food in the house, a pre-prepared food. McDonald's was something, and I'm just using that as an example that you didn't go to. That was garbage food, and they were actually correct. And Source is reminding everyone that these fast food places, unfortunately, not are just not healthy for your body in general. Okay, and aside from that, they were purposely purposely designed to by the Matrix to keep people's vibration low, to keep you asleep, so that way you're not aware of what's going on. Okay, so whoever's receiving this message needs to take heed of what they're eating. Apparently you're going too much to the outside stuff and it's not good, and that includes eating a lot of animal products, not to mention how those poor animals are treated, that these companies buy their meat from. Okay, which is outrageous within itself. What Source wants everyone to know is that human beings weren't meant to ingest meat. This is why you're seeing such high rates of colon cancer, because we have become a meat eating society and not giving a thought to where that meat comes from or how these animals suffer, which is horrible. I can't even think about it because it just upsets me to such a degree that I can't even tell you when I hear of mistreatment of an animal in any way, shape, or form. Okay? And that's what this matrix is big on doing, taking advantage of and using things that can't defend themselves. And they use people for that too. So you basically, if you're out there eating all this junk food, you're an experiment. You're just supplying more money to the matrix, to the medical field. Did you ever wonder why the organic food, is not readily available to everyone? There's a reason. And Source wants you to think about that. Think about why this food is not readily available. Why is it so expensive? Because they don't want you to have it. Because if you had the proper nutrition, okay, if you were able to drink clean water that wasn't polluted, that's also poisoning everyone, increasing the cancer rates, you would be thriving. which is what they don't want you to do. The Matrix wants you to remain asleep, remain unaware. They want to silence us, keep us quiet. But the more we speak out, the more we're able to overcome them. The more that we spread our word and our messages, the more we will be able to elevate ourselves. And that's what this is about. Okay. And people might think that this is a joke, but it's not. There's a spiritual war going on out there, and too many people are choosing to remain asleep. And that's unfortunate because they're going to wind up in a situation that they don't want to be in if they continue down that path. It's time to wake up. We're going into 2026, and I don't mean to sound harsh or not trying to scare anyone, but I'm here to give a message for those who are willing to listen. So if you can take this message and listen and take it for what it is, more power to you. If you pass it on to another human being, even better yet. And not for my sake, but for your own sake, for the well being of the entire planet, people and animals included. We really need to start rethinking about what's truly going on. I've warned people many times, or, my last warning from source, I think in a previous message, was about those ancestry DNAs, whatever you call that shit. All that's doing is collecting your DNA, just like your cell phone is tracking you. It's making you more addicted. I know so many people who can't put that phone down, not even for 10 minutes, and it's sad. It's sad. Have you visited with anyone lately? And everybody has a different device in their hand. They're not even visiting each other. They're looking on social media at stupid TikTok videos and nonsense, which means nothing. And all that's doing is further corrupting your brain, lowering your vibration, and preventing you from being able to see clearly. That's what the Matrix wants. And the Matrix doesn't want videos like this getting out there. So what do? They send out people to shadow ban them, prevent others from receiving the message, because they think that's going to dissuade those of us who have been given a message from continuing to move forward. But I can tell you right now, that's not going to happen for me. I'm going to continue to move forward regardless because I have a mission and I have a message that needs to get out. Okay, and hopefully the messages will be received how they were intended to be received, which is with love, encouragement, and positivity, even if it sounds like something you might not be willing to listen to. These are not easy things to listen to, but we have to start waking up. We really do, because we're getting at a stage now where it's tipping too much in the other direction and balance has to be restored. And it starts with you, with me, with each and every one of us doing our part to make sure that happens. Taking care of our planet, taking care of the animals, taking care of the most innocent, the poor. Maybe people like to judge poor people or homeless people, never asking themselves, how did that person get there? It can very easily happen, very easily. This is why we shouldn't be judging when we see a particular situation, because it can happen to anyone. Anyone could become homeless at any time, and many times through no fault of their own. We live in a country that, you know, you can't even rent a studio apartment, especially in New York, for under $2,000. That's disgusting. And the rich get richer, and guess what? And the rest of us, they want to suck you dry. They want to have you believing that they have your best interest at heart when they don't. And how do they do that? By sending out stimulus checks to show what a good person they are, or by stating that, Christmas is going to be a federal holiday. Okay. Now, there's nothing wrong with that. But, there aren't only Christians living in this country. What about the rest of the people? What about Jewish people? What about Muslim people? What about pagans? You know, where are their holidays of recognition? Because they're trying to fool you under the guise of Christianity. These people who do that don't even know what Christianity is. Again, it's all a ploy by the Matrix to make you think that they are benign when they're not. These are the most malignant of malignant. Be careful of those who wear crosses, okay, and spew hatred, because that is not a Christ-like behavior. So anyone who's out there, and follows the Christian faith, if you truly follow the Christian faith the way it was, meant to be followed, I applaud you. But 9 times out of 10, a majority of them don't. They're judgmental of others, judgmental of the homeless, judgmental of people that don't match their race specifications, judgmental of people of a different sexuality. And all these were condemned by Jesus. Jesus condemned no one. So that's a reminder from Source to those Christians out there. And if you know Christian people like this and you remain silent in their presence when they spew venom, it's up to you to open your mouth to say something to them. If you know it's incorrect, do something. Like they said during 9/11, if you see something, say something. And that's how it works. And I can't do this alone, and neither can the rest of the small group of people like myself who are doing this. We can't do this alone. We need everyone to really listen, understand, and know what's going on and wake up before it's too late. Because if this matrix takes over the way it wants to, you will remain enslaved forever. And that's what they want. They want to be sailing on their yachts and on their private islands while you're working 24/7 for pennies, and then tell you don't even deserve health insurance for the work that you do. The United States is one of the few countries where a person cannot work in where a person can, who works in a shoe store can't afford to pay rent. That doesn't happen in other countries. You know, they want to shit all over socialized medicine, but guess what? In those countries that have socialized medicine, they make sure they're not feeding their people poisonous foods. They don't allow it. No country in the world allows the poison and the garbage that's in our food and in our water in the United States. No country. None. And we're supposed to be the superior country? Got to think about that for a second. We're way at the bottom of the list when it comes to taking care of people, planet, and animals. At the bottom of the list. But we can change that. We can make a better world. We can make a better place if we choose to do so. When we choose to wake up and spread the message to others, okay? And some people won't like it, and that's fine. But at least you planted a bug in their ear. You planted a seed that might grow. In most cases, it won't. But for every one person you can get, it's still progress. It's still progress to leading us to a better planet and a better world and a better existence for all of us, which is how it should be. Nobody should be suffering and struggling. Nobody should be without health care. Nobody should be without food or a roof over their head. No animals should be locked up in cages being tested on ceaselessly. I mean, think about that. We don't want to see those things. It's very painful for me to know those things. And I'll be the first to admit when those commercials for the ASPCA come on, or the Humane Society, or even the of the war-torn countries and people suffering, I can't watch them. I do my best to try to promote assistance for them, but I'm guilty of not being able to watch it because my heart can't handle it. It just makes me very sad. And that's my point. I've been set out here on a mission to bring everyone who's willing to open their eyes a message. And I give it freely with all my heart. I don't know if I'm going to be here tomorrow for New Year's. Well, tomorrow's New Year's Eve, excuse me. Um, I'll try my best to be back, but if not, I wish everyone a happy New Year now. I know we're going to have a great year in 2026. There's lots of changes coming ahead. Karma is starting to reap its rewards for those who have amassed it. And the rest of us who are continuing to move forward into the light will continue to grow and be blessed and make changes that are so desperately needed in the world today. All right, we'll leave it at that, and I'll talk to you guys again soon. Take care.